resolution.
SCR6 in memoriam, Army Specialist Nickolas S. Welch, 1987 to 2013.
Question now arises upon final reading and adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution 6. Representative Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the will defies fear, when duty throws the gauntlet down to fate, when honor scorns to compromise with death, that is heroism. Robert Ingersoll never met Specialist Nickolas Noodle Welch, but his description of heroism, I think it tells the story. It sets the stage for a brief discussion here today. I rise to ask us to pause, to reflect, and to share in this particular sacrifice and the selflessness and service of Army Specialist Welch, one of our own. We're here today to welcome his family into our arms and to do what we may with our hollow and sometimes insufficient words to commemorate and celebrate the life and love, to memorialize Nickolas. Specialist Welch enlisted in the United States Army after graduating from Sandy M. High School in Mill City. He completed an associate's degree in business management from the College of the Siskiyous. He joined the Army, like many do, believing it would offer him additional opportunities for continuing his education, to pay off some student debts, and most importantly, to give something back to a community that had given him so much. It was his first tour to Afghanistan. I don't know if many of you have been following what's been going on in Afghanistan over the last few years, but the war changed. In talking with the family, it was very sometimes difficult to get out of Nickolas, who, as a soldier, didn't talk a whole lot about what was going on, that there was actually still a shooting war going on, even though it was on page 23 or 24, sometimes not even talked about. And in fact, Nickolas was gravely wounded and eventually died from those wounds from an attack where the enemy had been studying and watching and decided to hit through deception, riding on a donkey and then exploding that donkey when they were around the soldiers. You see, Nickolas was one of those young men that was gregarious and wanted to meet people and wanted to help people. The natural target for the enemy that took advantage. Today, along with Barry and Loria, Apollo, the dog, could not be here today, nor his brother Zachary. But along with Barry and Loria and the members of the 3rd Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team of the 3rd Infantry Division out of Fort Stewart, Georgia, we're here to grieve the loss and remember the bravery, courage, and duty. For just a few moments, I want to read, as is custom here, a few excerpts from Senate Concurrent Resolution 6. Whereas Specialist Nickolas Welch attended school in Mill City, Oregon, and graduated from Sandy M. High School in 2005, where he was a star wide receiver and received many academic and athletic awards. And whereas Specialist Nickolas Welch was generous and loyal to his family and friends, loved his yellow lab Apollo, and had a smile that could light up any room. And whereas Specialist Nickolas Welch's wit, sense of humor, and love of football were known to all who met him. And whereas on July 23, 2013, during his first tour of duty, Specialist Nickolas Welch was critically injured when a suicide bomber rode up to his unit on a donkey and detonated an improvised explosive device in Sultan Keel, Afghanistan. And whereas Specialist Nickolas Welch's bravery and sacrifice have been recognized through numerous awards, including the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Army Commendation Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, NATO Medal, and Combat Action Badge, be it resolved by the Legislative Assembly of the State of Oregon that we, the members of the 78th Legislative Assembly, recognize and honor United States Army Specialist Nickolas S. Welch for his service to this state and the nation. I read those formal words, and I want to conclude with just one small story that happened not a month before the passing of Nickolas Welch. Nickolas Welch was in an event, contact with the enemy, about a month before, and in that contact, his actions were recognized by the Army for saving a rifle platoon that wouldn't otherwise have been there. You see, Nickolas's job was being a forward observer. In today's technological age, that means he's the guy or the gal, in this case a guy, responsible for bringing in air support when your folks are in a bad situation. Calling in fire on his own position is a gutsy call, but Nickolas did that, exposing himself several times to fire to make sure that his buddies would get out alive, or at least die trying. You see, Nickolas actually didn't have to continue serving in the military. He re-upped while he was in Afghanistan because he didn't want to leave his buddies in November. I say that because today, in this chamber, it is sometimes too easy to simply watch these resolutions go by and not consider two things. Number one, the sacrifice of the individual involved and the impact on the family. But number two, that we have a responsibility to Nickolas. We have a responsibility to the family that helped bring Nickolas to that point. We have a responsibility to make sure Oregon is worth that sacrifice. So today I ask this membership to support House Concurrent Resolution 6, to meet Barry and Loria, and to remember always that these sacrifices, though they are made by young men and women in far-off places, we are responsible for making sure that those sacrifices are worthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.